As I was thinking about what the modern hellscape that is modern metal music and what that has become and how it's just so intertwined with plugin marketing and ridiculousness like that, I stumbled across this video and it's called I Hate Instagram Bands. It's by Uncle Judy Music. It's a pretty good channel. I was checking it out. It's got 84,000 subscribers, but this is the first time I've come across his stuff. He made an interesting point about bands that are trying to bring back 80s thrash. So I wanted to kind of explore the idea of, isn't 80s thrash reprise or bringing it back, is it something that's even possible today? Is it something we should even try and do? And what are the problems kind of inherent with that? Sort of the artistic quandaries that we come across when we're talking about that. So I was going to play part of his video. I was going to play some of that band's actual music, and we're just going to discuss it a little bit here. So
speaking of being original and doing something that no one else is doing,
This one's coming out January 1st. This one's written about Audit.
the we're bringing back 80s thrash guys. These guys are really cute. I actually don't hate these guys. I think I just see where they're coming from. I love 90s movies. It wouldn't be so
at least he sees like kind of the perspective they're coming from, but I have a feeling that he's going to find them maybe a little too unoriginal, which isn't a bad critique, honestly. So let's just see what he has to say.
crazy if I became a director and said, hey, I'm gonna bring 90s movies back. It wouldn't be so crazy if I made a 90s style crime thriller and called it Pulp Fiction and casted Timothy Chalamet. He's gonna play this cool hitman named Vince. Then I'll cast John Boyega. He's gonna play this hardcore gangster named Barbelis Ballas. And then I'll cast Tom Holland. He's gonna play this really cool boxer named Butch. I think I'll definitely bring 90s movies back with that. Okay, satire aside, this does work. Like really well, actually. 10 years ago, I would have loved because I was 13 and I required no weight or substance in my entertainment. But it would have got my attention, and that's what it does. It grabs a shitload of attention. Megadeth is a extremely iconic band. When you see a band that looks and sounds exactly like them, it's gonna get your attention.
Yeah, and I think this has been going on for like a little while. I don't think it's even like just in 2024, these sort of 80s thrash reprise things. I mean, we've been seeing bands like this for like 10 years. I dislike the critique that, oh, it's unoriginal to try and bring back 80s thrash when modern metal's been spinning its wheels in the same sound for like 20 years. And specifically the last 10 years, it's been the same thing, the same aesthetic, and the same headlining acts. And so I love when that, I'm not saying this is what he's doing, but when that criticism is projected onto the we're going to bring back standard tune guitar stuff, like modern metal is going somewhere original. Like that's given the fact that, oh yeah, modern metal is going somewhere original, when it's not. It hasn't gone anywhere original in quite some time, unless you're a few select bands which actually sort of travel out of that genre every once.
For about 15 minutes. I love 80s thrash. But you know what, buddy? I'm gonna go listen to Rust in Peace. And then maybe, you know what? When I get tired of Rust in Peace, maybe I'll go listen to Rain in Blood. And then when I get really tired of Rain in Blood, you know what? Maybe I'll go listen to And Justice for All. And then, I'll go listen to...
Yeah, I think this is an interesting point that, like, it's tough to say you can bring back 80s thrash when, like, maybe all the good work has already been done in the genre. But I don't really find that to be fair either, because if you think about any musical genre, there's always sometimes different reprises that occur, different revamps. Like, if you think about the early 2010s, was all about like 80s music being kind of revamped and revitalized. So, and like even the last few years, we've gotten sort of this pop punk revitalization going on. And so sometimes things can always get new life injected into them. And even the aesthetics can kind of come back, and even, the whole culture of it can kind of get some life breathed into it. Cause I mean, genres like pop, R&B, blues, they've been around forever. And the how the songs are constructed and the sound is always kind of the same. There always seems to be this weird cutout in the metal genre where they're just very, right now, scared to ever revitalize old sounds, which seems kind of maybe special to the metal genre.
Testament, and then Exodus. Where
Those are all great
on this
records,
list do I listen to stock thrash metal? We're bringing 80s thrash
Okay, we're gonna listen to the band. We're gonna see if it's actually stock thrash metal, but we'll make
back.
that determination.
No, you're not. I've heard royalty-free music and lo-fi beats that take more risks than your music. You try nothing new. There is nothing provided to me from your music that I can't already get from Megadeth, Metallica, and Anthrax sucks. Slayer, what you're making...
He says Anthrax sucks. Yeah, I mean, he's saying that it's already all been done well. I mean, that can be said about almost any genre, and then we see things kind of reprive themselves. So I think it's not just about bringing the thing back. You do need to do it well. And I do think he does make a point here. There has to be something different. You can't be a complete carbon copy of Metallica and Megadeth and expect to package that and people to totally buy in. There has to be something that makes it sort of fresh. And I will agree with him on that. All the pure aspects of 80s thrash, that is not going to come back in whole. You can't do that. That's a bygone era. That was part of a cultural moment, which that's something modern metal is not able to learn apparently. But you do need to do something new with it, add something to it to make it a
is
bit
what I
different.
search up when I need thrash metal in a video, but I can't get a copyright strike. You understand? It's stock music. At least try something. At least add something to it.
I'm gonna have to edit so many F-bombs out of
If
this
you're
video.
gonna try to bring 80s thrash back, just do something about it. You know, maybe this band's just trying to have fun, cosplay as Megadeth. That is fun. That sounds like
Wow, they got 70K followers. That's pretty crazy. It shows that people are desperate for something
a hell
that
of a
sounds
time.
interesting.
Nothing wrong with that. The issue is if this band is trying to actually go places with this, you're wasting so much of your talent because these guys are really good at marketing and they have so much energy that they're putting into this.
Yeah, we're gonna look at their Instagram and see.
And
what
it's
they have
going
on
towards bringing 80s thrash back, which will not happen. Anyway, look at this fucking guy.
there. I mean, it won't happen as long as the metal community stays the way that it does. Okay, so that's kind of the end of his segment on 80s thrash. So I'm actually gonna go to, this is the band he was referring to. They're called Morning High, and they have almost 71,000 followers at this point. And I've kind of gone through their Instagram here or there, and they do have that sort of 80s, early 90s thrash aesthetic, which I think is kind of cool. And there's always points in time where different artistic aesthetics get kind of brought back and revitalized and have some life put into them, but then all, you know, modernized to a degree. And I'm totally fine with that. They have, you know, sort of the thrash font going on. But at the end of the day, is your music compelling? I think that's what people care about. You know, I mean, the sound is cool, or the aesthetic is cool, the colors you're using is a cool idea. Their reels are have insane amounts of views. Now, when I see reels views, I'm just automatically ultra skeptical because I do feel like platforms like TikTok and Instagram, I think half the views are fake, honestly. Like 550,000, telling 550,000 people saw it. I have serious doubts about how these social media platforms actually determine views, or how we can even know if they're being juiced. But specifically with TikTok, I feel like they're definitely juiced, but Instagram as well. It's not particularly hard to have a reel kind of go viral like that, but they've had multiple reels go viral like that. So I'm going to go here to their actual music. This is what they have. They actually don't have a ton of music out right now, but they are working on a full-length album. They had, was this an EP, or they got some singles? Morning High and Crowd Control. Let's just see what they got. Let's just see if it sounds interesting. Let's see if there's anything there. So to me, that sounds a lot like I mean, obviously, like, riffs are gonna sound the same. It's not a criticism, but that sounds a lot like that bridge riff kind of before we get the solo in Tornado of Souls. That's what kind of has the vibe. Now, I think one thing you got to give them credit for is that the record, it's thrash metal, but has a little more of a modern sound. And so it's not like everything is drowned in reverb and it has that like 80s vintage feel. It's thrash metal, but it is updated and modernized to a degree. So I wouldn't say it's like a full kind of you know, bring back that sound.
Walking through the streets down in Tempe, you must feel the heat. Morning High.
That's kind of got like an early Metallica, a bit of an Anthrax feel.
Bang your face on the concrete. Talking about thrash metal, our name is in your mouth. And if it's not, we'll give you something good to talk about.
Let's see if there's a good guitar solo. Let's skip to the guitar solo. That's a very Kirky solo. Yeah, this song's got a very Kill 'Em All vibe. Let's see what Crowd Control's like. Yeah, I must give them credit that the record is tight. It sounds good. The playing is good. It doesn't sound overproduced or like the drums are fake. I mean, it sounds real enough to me. I don't know. Sometimes it's tough to tell. Drum definitely samples of some sort. I wouldn't doubt that. But they use samples even back in the 80s.
But your brain in the circles that have no truth, they care about.
This vocalist has got like the perfect sound. I do like this vocalist quite a bit. He's kind of like a cross between Mustaine and Hetfield. So it's like kind of a nice mix of the two. And he doesn't feel like a complete rip-off.
If I finish what I want to say, don't take my life away. These ideas, lifestyles, are dreams unless you make it yours.
That's snarly yours. That sounds like a Mustaine snarl. So anyways, after a couple listen throughs of their songs, I mean, it's interesting stuff. I want to see what they kind of do on a full length. I wasn't blown away by these tracks, but if I had a choice between the just packaged vanilla that is modern metal with tuned screen vocals or this, I would pick this every time because this was engaging. At least I felt like people were playing instruments. I know people might disagree with that, but I find this to be much more interesting. And so I think what we can learn is that you can update something. You don't have to do this, but if we could go back to playing instruments like somewhat, I'm not talking about like recording to tape, but just like get some of that rawness back to a degree. I think interesting music could be made in the metal world and maybe things can move forward. And if the metal world wasn't so determined to just squash anyone else who sounded a little bit different or sounded old or boomery or whatever, which is so ironic because breakdowns are almost 30 years old. I don't want to hear about, well, breakdowns are modern. Breakdowns are freaking old too. So good grief, people. So anyways, that's my overview of that. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. Could 80s thrash to any degree come back in modern metal? Is that even possible? I don't know if it is. And where do you think the direction of metal music is even going? Is it anywhere interesting? I'd like to hear your thoughts in a comment down below on this whole situation. I'm Make the Music. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.